So I was procrastinating doing an audio recording of Thomas Paine's Common Sense. So I wanted to read it, and it's not very thick. I thought, yeah, it probably only take a few hours to actually record that. And I came across this video of Alex Jones on Facebook. Some page called Senate Core posted it, apparently, and it been being shared around. And this is just the most incredible thing I've ever seen. This is Alex Jones explaining the Star Wars prequels in a way that makes them way more interesting than they actually were. And honestly, there were pieces that I hadn't really thought through as well as he has. This is actually great.
Let me just briefly explain Revenge of the Sith plot line, because at the time we wrote articles about it because the media said we don't understand this. This makes no sense.
Isn't that great? But Alex Jones, conspiracy theorist, can put it all together because there is a legitimate conspiracy in there. And so he can spot it a mile away. I think it's wonderful.
The most popular of the three prequels. They made total sense. Emperor Palpatine was a little-known senator from Naboo, small planet. He finances terrorists to attack the planet. And then he plays victim and says that the pacifist republic isn't doing enough to help him with the terrorist invasion, the Trade Federation invasion, who even speak in Chinese accents. It's all geopolitical. And so, little aliens with Chinese accents.
You know, that probably is the intent that George Lucas was going for. Try and make it seem like there were other actors involved here, not just, it's not just a bunch of humans. This is part of an international effort. I've got no doubt that was one of the things that was going to be in his mind when he was writing these characters. And this is just so precise. I can't get over this.
He then goes and complains and catapults himself in the crisis into the role of chancellor. Because, he was the victim, but now he demanded something be done. He'd been a pacifist previously. Now he's chancellor.
See, and that's a great thing to have. So I know that it's really interesting hearing him going on, but these are really important points. Because this is the danger of giving people power over victimhood. You're a victim, therefore tell us what to do. If you give them that power, then you'll find someone who's like, well, I'll just make myself a victim, and then I'll take the power that way. It won't be something that's handed to me. And this thing about, like, sacred victimhood, I've been thinking about this a lot recently with feminists, and, like, this tweet with Jess Phillips, like, she didn't, like, I'm just looking at the effect, like, was she bothered? No. Was any harm done? No. What happened? Nothing. Except I proved my point. So to me, I don't see any problem with the tweet, but, like, Thomas and the rest are treating this like it's a sacred point of principle. Essentially, they're treating it like I've sinned. Doesn't matter the context, it doesn't matter the reason, doesn't matter the effect. What matters is that thing happened. I burned a Quran or something like that. So that anyway, let's just let Alex Jones carry on before I wander off into the wilderness.
Episode 2 launches terror attacks all over the galaxy with groups he's secretly financing through his backers.
Emperor Palpatine's what, the Jews? No, I'm joking. But no, seriously, this is like what he did in the films, and this makes it sound really exciting. Again, what I was going to say is that there was, like, legitimately a lesson about power politics there and how people can be manipulated using the sort of politics of victimhood. And Alex Jones is making that lesson very apparent, and they should have been really apparent in the films. It's just George Lucas fucked it all up.
In the Trade Federation, he turns around double crosses in the end. Lord Vader, kill Viceroy Gunray and everyone else in the... So basically, in the end, they knock out all of the people that backed him, which always happens. Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, Maoist China, learn from history.
That's true. The people who begin a revolution very rarely make it to the end of the revolution. Just bad luck Robespierre, I guess.
Then in episode... so he uses that to build up the power of the Empire in episode 2. And now he's got this big Imperial army, but it's not Imperial yet. But it's the stormtroopers, the outfits, the weapon systems to counter this outside threat run by Count Dooku.
That's all true. Like, that's all really well pointed out. That's exactly what he did do. But the thing is, it's difficult to take that away from the films because Lucas is such a clumsy writer.
The Osama bin Laden guy that actually works for him, and they meet in secret.
Yeah. So the Emperor has literally funded and created the enemy with which he is taking over the Republic. It's actually diabolical and quite brilliant as a storyline. Again, I'm just no one cared about the characters in it. It's actually a great storyline, but the characters were just badly written. Because Lucas has got real problems emotionally, you can tell. Just go watch the Red Letter Media ones. The guy clearly has emotional issues.
Now, in episode 3, he launches an attack on the imperial capital himself. He launches an attack on New York. And then he gets captured, and then he sets up Count Dooku to get killed, and then he seduces to the dark side Anakin Skywalker to make him Darth Vader. And in the end, he then sets up, after he has the police state in place, he sets up the Jedi and says they're terrorists and has the anti-terror forces go in and wipe them out. And then he says he's launching a global intergalactic war to bring peace.
That's really phenomenal. And if the Star Wars movies had managed to portray it in nearly that sort of easily digestible formats. I mean, it didn't, obviously not this concisely, but like if the message had been clear within Star Wars, then it would have been a really interesting red pill for the audience. They would have been, oh Christ, I'll look out for that. But instead, the films were goddamn boring, really boring, and nobody was interested in them. Nobody wanted to sit there through the boring politics of it, even though the politics of it is actually quite thrilling, as Alex is pointing out. I guess it's just that Alex is a much better storyteller than George Lucas. But yeah, I think, looking back, there's a severe opportunity wasted here with these films. It's actually a real shame, now I think about it. Because maybe we wouldn't be having such an easy time. Maybe the victim... Maybe... basically professional victims wouldn't be having such an easy time, because they're essentially doing the same thing. When they're sending themselves death threats, and then they're demanding more and more control, and then like the Black Lives Matter people get caught sending themselves death threats, or a feminist, and it's exactly what they're doing. It's really interesting.